नमस्कार दोस्तों, आप सबका स्वागत है मिडवीक सहोदर। एक इको आ रही है, सॉरी, मैं एक बार उसको ठीक कर लूँ। नमस्कार दोस्तों, आप सबका स्वागत है मिडवीक सहोदर यूट्यूब लाइव पर। पिछले सप्ताह मैंने 2 दिन के लिए एक पोल लगाया था अपने यूट्यूब चैनल पर, और जिसका आशय ये था कि यह जानना चाहता था कि किस तरह के मुद्दे ज़्यादा लोगों को इमोशनली इफ़ेक्ट करते हैं, और इस वजह से कोशिश ये थी कि उन मुद्दों को पहले लिया जाए। सबसे ज़्यादा मुद्दा जो लोगों को अफेक्ट करता है वो है मेंटेनेंस। मेंटेनेंस के ऊपर हमने लगातार 3 एपिसोड वीकली किए थे। बहुत से सवाल आए, और इनफैक्ट आज भी इस चैनल पे सबसे पॉपुलर अगर कोई वीडियोस हैं तो वो उन्हीं मेंटेनेंस से रिलेटेड ही हैं। दूसरा सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट मुद्दा जो अधिकतर व्यूअर्स को लगता है वो क्रिमिनल केसेस इन मैट्रिमोनी है। मैट्रिमोनी में जो क्रिमिनल केसेस आपके ऊपर लाद दिए जाते हैं, लड़कों पर लाद दिए जाते हैं, उसके बारे में। एक छोटा सा टेक्निकल इशू अभी हुआ है, और वह इशू ये है कि चैट विंडो में जितनी भी प्रीवियस चैट थी वो सब ऑटोमेटिकली डिलीट हो गई थी 2 मिनट पहले, जब मैं लाइव होने का प्रयास कर रहा था। तब कुछ 1-2 सवाल ही इस समय उपलब्ध हैं। आप सब नेचुरली अपने सवाल यहाँ लिख सकते हैं, मैं उनका जवाब देने का प्रयास करूँगा। सबसे पहला सवाल मैं जो ले रहा हूँ वो ध्रुव जाजू का है। ध्रुव जाजू का सवाल है कि अनफेयर इन्वेस्टिगेशन नॉट कंप्लाइंग द डायरेक्शन ऑफ हाई कोर्ट फॉर एग्जामिन ऑफ एविडेंस एट द टाइम ऑफ इन्वेस्टिगेशन इज अ ग्राउंड फॉर क्वैशिंग ऑफ चार्जशीट फॉर हस्बैंड। ध्रुव, आपके सवाल से मैं शायद ये समझ पा रहा हूँ कि हाई कोर्ट ने कुछ डायरेक्शंस दी थी इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग ऑफिसर को, शायद आपके पर्टिकुलर केस के लिए ही दी थी, जिसमें उसे कहा गया होगा कि कुछ पहलुओं पर कुछ एविडेंसेस को वो एग्जामिन करे, अपने इन्वेस्टिगेशन में शामिल करे, जबकि आईओ ने ऐसा नहीं किया है। तो क्या ऐसा ना करना ग्राउंड फॉर क्वेश्चनिंग हो सकता है चार्जशीट का, जो कि हस्बैंड के खिलाफ है? अगर हाईकोर्ट की ऐसी कोई प्रायर डायरेक्शंस थी जिसमें यह कहा गया था कि किन किन मुद्दों पर एविडेंस आईओ को कलेक्ट करने हैं, या एक्यूज ने कहा था कि मेरे पास यही एविडेंस है, और आईओ को यह डायरेक्ट किया गया था, यह कहा गया था कि आप इन एविडेंसेस की जांच कीजिए और अपनी चार्जशीट में शामिल करना है या नहीं करना है उसके बारे में लिखिए। अगर आईओ ने उन एविडेंसेस के बारे में बात ही नहीं की है तो डेफिनेटली ये एक ग्राउंड है जिसके लिए आप हायर कोर्ट में क्वेश्चन के लिए दोबारा जा सकते हैं। दूसरी तरफ जब आईओ ने इन एविडेंसेस की जांच करी है, इनको अपने चार्जशीट का पार्ट बनाया है, पर उसका एक्सप्लेनेशन इन एविडेंसेस के बारे में कुछ और है, तो शायद आप नहीं जा पाएंगे। किसी इंसान जो कि इन तरह के केसेस को समझता हो, उसे हाई कोर्ट का प्रीवियस ऑर्डर और इन एविडेंसेस के बारे में पढ़ना पड़ेगा, समझना पड़ेगा, और तभी यह देखा जा सकता है या सोचा जा सकता है कि इसमें हाई कोर्ट में जाने का कोई बेनिफिट होने वाला है या नहीं होने वाला है। रोहित गोस्वामी का सवाल है, अगर हम महिला थाने में स्त्री धन की फेक लिस्ट का जवाब ये बोलकर दें कि हम कोर्ट से सामान वापस करेंगे तो कोई प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है, इस रीजन से बेल रिजेक्ट तो नहीं होगी 498A की? तो रोहित जी, सबसे पहली बात, ये स्त्री धन की जहां तक बात आती है 498A का नहीं, 406 का मसला, जिसमें कि अमानत में खयानत या उसके सामान को कब्जा लेना, उसे अपने सामान की तरह इस्तेमाल करना और मांगे जाने पर वापस ना देना, यह धारा लगती है 406 आईपीसी की। अगर आप यह एडमिट करते हैं कि आपके पास सामान है और यह सामान आप कोर्ट से वापस करेंगे, तो कोर्ट से वापस करने का एक आशय यही निकाला जाएगा कि आपके पास यह सामान उपलब्ध है जिसे आप कोर्ट के माध्यम से ही वापस करना चाहते हैं। तो क्या कोई प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है? बिल्कुल प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है। नंबर एक, जैसा कि आपने कहा कि एक फेक लिस्ट है, आपने आईओ के द्वारा मांगने पर भी इसका जवाब ये नहीं दिया कि ये आइटम फेक है और एडमिट कर लिया कि हम सब सामान जो है कोर्ट में वापस करेंगे, तो इसका मतलब ये एक एडमिशन है कि आप कोर्ट के अंदर ये सब सामान देंगे, तो इसका मतलब यह सब सामान आपके पास उपलब्ध है। कोर्ट के बेल के समय कोर्ट आपसे यह कह सकता है कि आप जो भी एडमिटेड लिस्ट है वो सामान आप वापस करें। उस स्थिति में आप वह सब सामान वापस नहीं कर पाएंगे। कोर्ट आपको डायरेक्ट कर सकता है कि उसकी एवज में उन सामान की वैल्यू आप कोर्ट में या लड़की कोर्ट में जमा कराएं या लड़की को दे दें। दोनों स्थितियों में हानि आपकी होगी। 406 के बारे में, जहां तक लड़की जब भी लिस्ट लेके आती है और आपको एक मौका दिया जाता है उस लिस्ट का विरोध करने का, अपना जवाब दाखिल करने का, एडमिट लिस्ट उसको कहते हैं, वो देने का, तो आपको एडमिट लिस्ट पूरी तरह से देनी चाहिए। वहाँ पर एक्सप्लेनेशन देना चाहिए। अगर कोई सामान आपके पास नहीं है, कोई सामान वो वापस ले गई है, कोई सामान इमेजिनरी है, कोई सामान एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करता है, तो यह सब चीज़ें आपको लिख के देनी चाहिए आईओ को, और आईओ उस बिना पर अपनी विवेचना करेगा। अगर बेल के समय आपसे इस लिस्ट के बारे में कुछ पूछा जाएगा तो वह लिस्ट पहले से ही आईओ ने रिपोर्ट में लगाई होगी। इस तरह की चीज कि हम यह सब सामान कोर्ट में ही वापस करेंगे, एक तरह से एडमिशन है कि आपके पास ये सामान है। आपने कहीं डिनाई नहीं किया है कि ये लिस्ट झूठी है। तो इस तरह के लिख के देने में डेफिनेटली आपको प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है। Shivani Abrol has a question, and the question is, my brother's case is of 498 and father's case of 354 are in court at Delhi Kadkaduma. How can I use CCTV recording for these cases? Can I get call records of my body? So Shivani, we have discussed this case in the past. 498 and 354 में CCTV आप नहीं इस्तेमाल कर पाएंगे। उसकी बहुत आपके केस में डेफिनेटली मेरे को इस केस के बारे में थोड़ा सा ज्ञान है, तो मैं इसके बारे में थोड़ी सी ज़्यादा जानकारी दे पा रहा हूँ, पर मुझे नहीं हर एक केस में सीसीटीवी अलग अलग स्थान का हो सकता है। सीसीटीवी फुटेज उस समय की होनी चाहिए जिस समय का वाकया घटना ये बताई गई है। जो 354 के एलिगेशन है उसमें सीसीटीवी शायद आपके काम उतने ना आ पाए, और 498 में तो सीसीटीवी फुटेज अपराध जो है 498 का कभी भी हो सकता है, कहीं भी हो सकता है। रही बात कॉल रिकॉर्ड्स ऑफ योर भाभी, डेफिनेटली आप कोर्ट के अंदर जब लॉकडाउन खुलता है एक एप्लीकेशन लगा सकती हैं कि आपकी भाभी की कॉल डिटेल रिकॉर्ड्स प्रिजर्व की जाए, और ये इन्वेस्टिगेशन के लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है कि स्थान जहाँ पर घटना बताई गई है आपकी भाभी शायद उस स्थान पे थी नहीं, तो उस केस में आप ज़रूर कोर्ट खुलते ही ट्रायल कोर्ट के अंदर ये एप्लीकेशन लगा सकती हैं कि सीसीटीवी जो है सीडीआर जो है कॉल डिटेल रिकॉर्ड जो आपकी भाभी की है वो प्रिजर्व की जाए। यही एप्लीकेशन आप पहले एसएचओ और आईओ के पास भी लगा सकती हैं, ताकि जब आप कोर्ट में जाएं तो आप एप्लीकेशन में लिख सकें कि आपने यह एप्लीकेशन पहले आईओ और एसएचओ के पास लगा दी है, कि मामले की सत्यता जानने के लिए यह बहुत ज़रूरी है कि सीडीआर प्रिजर्व की जाए, जिससे कि शायद ये साबित होगा कि जिस समय की घटना यह लड़की बता रही है उस समय यह लड़की घटनास्थल पर थी ही नहीं। आलोक बोहिदर के सवाल हैं। Alok Bohidar has a question, and the question I am reading. This is Alok here. I am from Odisha. As there were differences between me and my wife, she went to her parents' house on 3/11/2018 and staying there since then. To resolve the issue, we convened meeting on 7/2/2019 in presence of relatives, her parents, but she even started false accusation against me and my family. So I have filed divorce case on 26/2019. After my wife received divorce notice, she filed false domestic violence case and registered false FIR under 498A, 294, 323, 34, 406 Dowry Prohibition Act 1961, Section 4 against me and my family. There are so many contradictory points between FIR and domestic violence case. Also, many places in FIR there are vague allegations. There were not much details like specific allegations. Also, most allegations do not have time, place clearly mentioned. Please let me know how I can reach you for consultation to discuss whether my case is fit for question. So, Alok, you can definitely reach me through my website. My phone number and email ID both are listed there. Now, coming to these contradictory points and the vague allegations. So, vagueness of the allegation, which does not tell you a particular crime, prima facie does not make out a case, is definitely a ground for questioning. On 15th May 2020, that was 3-4 days back, Punjab and Haryana High Court has quashed an FIR of 498A against certain relatives of the husband against whom there was not sufficient prima facie case made out. The allegations were not specific, and the allegations which were there did not constitute cruelty under 498A. I have also done a video explaining that. You can view that video as well. Now, definitely, certain points these things can be utilized, but there are certain points when this alone is not sufficient for questioning. We can always discuss this case. You can always contact me through my. I have a question from Vivek Muskan. Now, Vivek has a question. 498A case in Delhi submitted evidences to IO which show complaint is cooked up story and true facts completely different. IO said he will not place my evidence on record, says I have to settle on her terms or face trial. He will charge it me no matter whatever evidences are submitted. Please guide what to do. Ideally, IO should prosecute her for submitting false complaint. Vivek, this question comes to me quite often that I have this evidence, and IO is not taking my evidence. What should I do? Is there a way we can force IO to take evidences of the accused? Very unfortunately, there is a Supreme Court judgment which says that the discretion rests with the IO to take any evidences from the accused or not to take any evidences from the accused. The prosecution story need not be fair. Actually, basically this means that it need not be fair. The IO, if he deems that there is sufficient ground for filing charge sheet, can go ahead and file charge sheet. The accused can bring those evidences on record during the trial and try to prove his innocence. Unfortunately, in various judgments, various high courts and even Supreme Court has held that evidences cannot be taken at the time of discharge or quash even. Once the charge sheet has been filed, the evidences of the accused can only be tested at the time of trial. The justice delivery mechanism as this country has does not let an accused bring these evidences to the fore beforehand. In fact, accused has right of silence, and even his admission to the guilt cannot be held against him. So, I have always said that you need not give any evidences to the IO. Most of the time, the same evidences find ways to the complainant, and the complainant changes or tweaks her story in her 161 statement, or the witnesses tweak the story in 161 statement after getting to know what evidences you have. So if silence is your recourse, then you should not have submitted the evidences. even now when you have submitted the evidences and IO is not taking them on record, you can only wait for the charge sheet to be filed. Then probably you can use CRPC 91 or other applications to bring those evidences which you submitted to the IO on record, and then we can see how we can proceed with this, how you can proceed with that. Rishi ji has a question, and the question is not related to criminal cases, but it is a small question, so let me answer it. सर मेरा एंट्री मेंटेनेंस 2018 में हुआ था, डेट ऑफ एप्लीकेशन 2016 से CRPC 125 में क्या एग्जीक्यूशन फाइल की जा सकती है? ऋषि जी, एग्जीक्यूशन अब भी फाइल की जा सकती है, पर अब वो 1 साल तक के लिए ही, पीछे 1 साल तक के लिए फाइल की जा सकती है। रोबी जी का सवाल है, इनका सवाल है पुरुष धन भी होता है। माई ऑल ज्वेलरी, ये सवाल है, माई ऑल गोल्ड ज्वेलरी इज विद हर इन हर लॉकर एंड लॉकर इज इन हर नेम। आई हैव डिक्लेयर्ड गोल्ड इन माई लोकपाल एसेट रिटर्न एज आई एम गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉय। सो रोबी जी, ये आपकी प्रॉपर्टी है, ये धन आपका है, ये संपत्ति आपकी है। स्त्री धन का जो कंसेप्ट है वो हमारे शास्त्रों से निकला है। पहले स्त्री के पास प्रॉपर्टी का कोई अधिकार नहीं होता था, वो कोई प्रॉपर्टी ओन नहीं कर सकती थी। उसका धन जो होता था वो मात्र काफी लिमिटेड स्फीयर में काम करता था, जो उसे अपने पिता से मिला, पति से मिला, भाई से मिला या बच्चों से मिला। सिर्फ वही धन उसका अपना होता था। बाकी सब धन जो है वो मर्दों का होता था, पुरुषों का होता था परिवार में। तो परंतु आपको हताश होने की जरूरत नहीं है। इस धन को भले ही पुरुष धन कहा जाए या ना कहा जाए, ये आप ही का धन है, ये आप ही की प्रॉपर्टी है। अगर यह धन उसके लॉकर में है, लॉकर उसके नाम पर है, आप डेफिनेटली 406 आईपीसी का केस उस लड़की के ऊपर दायर कर सकते हैं। और मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि उसे चीजें आपको देनी पड़ेंगी। अगर वह यह सब चीजें आपको नहीं देती है तो इसके लिए उसके खिलाफ मुकदमा चलेगा और उसे सजा भी हो सकती है। तो आपके पास रिकॉर्ड है परचेज का, आपने अपने लोकपाल एसेट रिटर्न में इसको बताया गया है, आप सरकारी कर्मचारी हैं, तो डेफिनेटली एक अजम्पशन कि ये धन आपका है, एक अजम्पशन आपकी तरफ होगी। और अगर पुलिस इस एफआईआर को दर्ज नहीं करती है तो आपको इस कंप्लेंट को लेकर कोर्ट में जाना चाहिए और कोर्ट के थ्रू उस लड़की पर मुकदमा दर्ज कराना चाहिए। मेरी आपको यही राय होगी इस मसले में। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन आई एम टेकिंग फ्रॉम Muzammil Almil, and the question is, wife has taken laptop, iPhone and gold while going. Can we put any case on it 6 months before currently, as she has filed 498 and D? So Muzammil, when your wife took all these items, did you lodge a complaint in the police station that she has left with these items? Unfortunately, unlike women, men have to do a lot more to get a case registered against wife, especially in these circumstances. If as and whenever you want to go and file a case of 406 and it is not attached with a section 498A, there is a different procedure for it. The policeman will ask for the verified bill, the date when you gave all these items to the girl, and so forth, so and many questions they will be asking, which is not the case when it is linked with 498A. When a girl is filing a 498A case, a cognizable offense, and another offense of 406 that is added just like that in the particular FIR. So, of course, there is a lacuna in our mechanism of prosecution as well as justice delivery that these things are done, but unfortunately this is the truth which is happening in this country right now, and not only in one state, it is happening all across the country. You can still try to get an FIR registered against your wife. However, unless you have bills, it will be very difficult to establish these crime against your wife either in the police station or in the court. So I have a question from Tinku Kumar. Can I pay to girl for her student if I am not able to return due to these items in my rural hometown? So definitely, Tinku, we can always offer to return the items at a later date, or we can offer to reimburse about the amount which the girl has spent. Both these things are possible. You can give this offer in the police station or in the court at the time of bail. And definitely, there are circumstances when the things have gone bad, lost, or there are things which does not retain the same value after a passage of time. Say crockery, it goes, it gets lost or broken or chipped at times. So we can always replace it with the similar value thing, and the court and the police always ask the lady to accept it or cash in lieu of these items. Actually. So I have a question from Abhijit K. And the question is, hello sir, I have submitted mutual consent petition in family court and paid 10 lakhs so far to withdraw DV case. I was threatened with name of retired police inspector and also mentioning to have political and underworld contact. Can I consider filing FIR against her, her father and uncle who threatened me, due to which I agreed mutual consent agreement and not settle remaining dues of 20 lakhs? Please advise. Thanks. Abhijit, it is a very tight situation, I must say. You have already paid a part of the settlement amount which was mentioned, and if the settlement amount is listed as 30 lakh rupees and the court does not see that it is much beyond your capacity, it is unbelievable, or the coercion comes to fore, because I don't know when this thing happened and how long back this thing happened and why you have not gone to the police till now. So it is very difficult for any court or any sane person to believe these facts. They may be true facts, and if a reasonable time has already elapsed, no court is going to accept this contention of yours. You may be liable for serious consequences. So please understand that time is in essence. If you have not approached appropriate authorities within a specific time limit, there is a grave injustice which will be done to you. This is the truth, however unfortunate or bitter it may be. You can still try taking the complaint to the court or the police. However, I doubt that at this particular juncture, the court or the police will accept any of your contentions that such and such thing happened at such and such time, and that is why you are not in a capacity to pay the said amount at this point of time, and the accused should be prosecuted. So this is how I see it. The factual metrics of the case may be totally different, and it may be what you are saying. It may be the case that in actuality the things happened in the manner which you have suggested, but it is very difficult to believe. So please take appropriate action as I have suggested. Pradeep Sachdeva has a question about domestic violence case. I'll see to it that if there are no further questions, I'll take it. However, in this particular thing, YouTube Live, we are taking only questions related to criminal cases in matrimony. Pradeep, you can either send a WhatsApp using the WhatsApp link in this YouTube channel, or maybe connect in weekend meeting. I have a question from Dayanand, and the question again relate to CRPC 125 and DV. Please understand that today we are having a session which relates only to criminal offences in matrimony. So we'll take this question. Please ask this question in weekend meetings. Now there is a question from Mr. Me, and again the question is how to quash mother and sister from DV case. Uh, I am sure there are many other problems than criminal cases in matrimony. And however, I love to help all of you. There are certain things which we follow, and there are this particular YouTube live is for criminal offences. Please maintain the decorum so that a lot of more and more people can benefit from it. I'm taking a question from लखवीर चंद शर्मा. सर, अगर 498 केस में अगर लड़की वाले और विटनेस पूरी प्लानिंग करके फेक डेट टाइम एक्सेट्रा लिखवा दें तो क्या करें? बिकॉज आजकल लड़की वाले भी लायर के शह लेकर केस करती हैं. मेरे केस में भी गवाहों ने कहा कि उसने लड़की के साथ मारपीट की और दहेज मांगा, जबकि ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं था. लखवीर जी, दो बातें हैं. जो एक घटना हुई होती है उसको प्रूव करना संभव है, एक घटना नहीं हुई है उसको प्रूव करना संभव नहीं है. लड़की वालों ने अगर मारपीट की बात की, दहेज मांगने की बात की, एक पर्टिकुलर डेट टाइम इवेंट पे की, तो इनका इफेक्टिव क्रॉस एग्जामिनेशन ज़रूरी है. और इस तरह की घटना के लिए कोशिश ये करनी चाहिए कि कोर्ट को आप इम्प्रेस करें कि कुछ फेक घटनाएं हैं जिसके बारे में मैं कुछ सवाल विटनेसेस से डिफरेंट रखना चाहूँगा. तो एक एक करके विटनेस बुलाने के बजाय इन सबके बयान पहले ले ली जाए, एग्जामिनेशन इन चीफ इनका पहले कर दिया जाए और मैं सबका एक साथ क्लोज करूँगा. यह एक तरीका हो सकता है. ऑफ कोर्स ये ज़रूरी नहीं है कि यही तरीका हो. दूसरी बात, कोई भी झूठ पकड़ने के लिए क्रॉस एग्जामिनेशन में हमें तरह तरह से सवाल पूछने पड़ते हैं. एक एग्जॉस्टिव डॉक्यूमेंट जो हमने बनाया था जिसको अनलॉकिंग एविडेंसेस कहते हैं, वो मेरी वेबसाइट पे अवेलेबल है. आप कृपया उसे पढ़ें. उसमें विभिन्न सिनेरियो के लिए, डिफरेंट सिनेरियोज के लिए अलग अलग तरह से कैसे उसे अप्रोच करना है यह बताया गया है, लिखा गया है. तो कृपया एक बार आप उसे पढ़ें. हो सकता है आपको बहुत उसमें सुविधा मिले, पढ़ने से आपको क्लैरिटी मिले और कैसे उसे इफेक्टिवली क्रॉस एग्जामिन करना है इसके बारे में आपको थोड़ी जानकारी मिले. और इस जानकारी का आप डेफिनेटली फ़ायदा उठा सकते हैं जब आप उसे क्रॉस एग्जामिनेशन करने जाते हैं. अपने वकील साहब को इस मामले से रिलेटेड, उस पर्टिकुलर डेट और इवेंट से रिलेटेड हर एक जानकारी दीजिए. उन्हें इफेक्टिव क्रॉस तैयार करने में मदद कीजिए. इसके अलावा कई बार ऐसा होता है जब ये घटनाएं बताई जाती हैं तो वह लोग ही नहीं जानते कि वह कहाँ थे. उनके बारे में पता कीजिए कि कोई विटनेस उस समय उस जगह पे था या किसी और जगह पे उसकी अटेंडेंस तो नहीं लगी है. एक पर्टिकुलर केस में, चलो मेरे ही केस की बात करूँ, मेरे ही केस में एक दिन, जिस दिन की घटना बताई गई उस दिन एक पर्सन जो इस घटना का जिक्र कर रहा है वो किसी और शहर में किसी और केस में खड़ा होकर गवाही दे रहा था. इस तरह के डॉक्यूमेंट्स निकल आते हैं, सम्मन किए जा सकते हैं. किसी एक्सीडेंट में इन्वॉल्व हो सकता है, किसी हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट हो सकता है, किसी शादी में, गमी में, खुशी में गया हो सकता है. तो जब हम पता करते हैं तो ऐसी बहुत सी चीज़ें निकल आती हैं. झूठ के कहते हैं पैर नहीं होते. एक झूठ को बचाने के लिए, समझाने के लिए बहुत झूठ बोलने पड़ते हैं. तो ऑफ कोर्स हर एक स्थिति अलग है, हर एक एलिगेशन अलग है, तारीख, समय, इन सब के हिसाब से हमें ढूंढना पड़ेगा कि हमें उनसे क्या सवाल करने और किस तरह ये सवाल करने. मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है और मेरा पूरा विश्वास है कि अगर आपने कोई क्राइम नहीं किया और आप उसको थोड़ा भी संभल कर क्रॉस एग्जामिन कर लेते हैं तो सजा की कोई गुंजाइश नहीं रहता. आई एम टेकिंग अ क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम विनोद आहूजा. Vinod Ahuja has a question. Earlier, police issued LOC against me, and now they are saying they have already sent a letter to immigration authorities to cancel. How to check whether it's cancelled or not? Vinod, there is no way to check whether there is a LOC and what is the fate of that LOC, whether it is cancelled, it is standing, it is not standing, because it is a secretive information in the national interest. Uh, Fugitives can be caught by LOC, and if this information is available in public domain, it will be very difficult to catch fugitives. Now, when the police is saying, and if they have already said in writing that they have sent a letter to immigration authorities, you should believe them. Normally, as per my information, LOC is removed within 24 to 48 hours from the time when this information is received by the immigration department. You would be free to travel as and when this lockdown is lifted, and if you have this thing in writing available to you, then you need not worry. My only piece of advice to all the people who are traveling after there was a LOC against their name is that reach airport at least 3 to 4 hours earlier than your flight, so that even if there is some lacuna left, some by mistake this LOC is not removed, you have the time to call the IO, or the immigration people themselves will call the IO and get it in writing or on a fax that the LOC is no longer required, this person is free to go. And I have seen that this advice that reach 3 to 4 hours earlier has helped not one, not two, many people, because sometimes they have court order for removal of LOC, but the same has not been communicated to the immigration authorities, and sometimes false information has been given to these people that they have already informed immigration authorities. Once you have it in writing, and if you are still not able to board the flight because there is a LOC against you, you can sue these people and ask for compensation for ticket and other damages. So please don't be unduly worried about it. If there is LOC has been removed, be assured that sooner or later it will be removed. I have a series of questions from Ali Mohammed, and the questions are: Hello, sir. I have some questions. One, I am a practicing Muslim. I doubt that my wife may put fake triple talaq case. Please advise how to tackle it. Two, we did not demand anything, but they are very greedy, which I have realized now. On Roka ceremony, they came with 1 lakh rupees to hand over me as a gift. Me and my family refused and returned, but they took a photo with me while handing over 1 lakh. I am afraid they will use this photo in cases. Please guide how to tackle. Three, wife's brother is a doctor, so I doubt that he may create fake medical certificate to prove cruelty. How to handle this? So Ali, all three questions are as of now not in existence. They are all your doubts. Triple talaq bill, when it came, and it was rumored that it can be another 498 because there was a non-bailable. It is a non-bailable offense. So, and a lot of girls have filed it. But please understand that CRPC 41A is still applicable in this case too. So as long as there is no worry of investigating officers that you will run away or do things to harass the witness, so forth, so on, they should not arrest you. And even if they arrest you, the bail can be obtained from the concerned magistrate on the same day. You can also apply for anticipatory bail in this particular case, but that is only when she goes and files a complaint. Now, coming to the second question, that 1 lakh rupee were handed over to you, or there is a picture that they were trying to hand over 1 lakh rupees to you, which you have not taken and returned back. First of all, it is not in dowry. It will not be termed as dowry or dower, whatever it is. It is It is a kind of a customary gift. Instead of 11 rupees, 21 rupees, 100 rupees, they have given 1 lakh rupees. So please be assured of it. At worst, you may have to pay back this 1 lakh rupees. Now, third thing is that her brother is a doctor, and you doubt that he may create a false medical certificate to prove cruelty. Is that doctor a government doctor? Then be assured that if he does so and it is proven, he may lose his job. In fact, at least in one particular case, I have helped one innocent warrior get a doctor not only suspended, his certificate to practice cancelled for giving a false medical certificate. So we will see to it what is that certificate and how, in what shape it comes, and then we can deal with it. Without knowing what document he is going to create, we cannot create any defenses right now. Another question which he has, that was the fourth question, and it was, can they ask me to show my salary slip during interim maintenance? If yes, then what if I refuse? The answer is yes, they can ask you. Rather, the court can order you to bring your salary slip during discussion on interim maintenance, and if you refuse the same, then the salary which they are telling, that will be treated as due by the court, and the maintenance can be passed on the basis of that. Just excuse me, let me have some. I have a question from Gopal K, and this is a very pertinent question. Sir, please explain about changing jobs and getting new jobs of husband and his siblings during pendency of criminal cases, both private and government jobs. So, Gopal, first thing first, if there is a criminal case pending against you or your siblings, that particular person may not get a government job. Let us be very clear on it. And there is nothing which you can do about it. The cases have gone up to Supreme Court, and barring couple of cases where the employment was nearly finalized prior to filing of the cases, or only merely the formality of joining was left, the Supreme Court has always held that if there is a criminal case against any person, he cannot be given a vote. So the same set of rules apply when you are trying to change government job from one department to another department, and it is a change and not a transfer. Now coming to the private jobs, most of the firms which I know, or most of the big firms which I know, have one or two or three people or more people who are affected by these cases. Most of the firms, I have talked to HR people and know from my practical experience, don't treat matrimonial criminal offences as serious offences. Myself had changed jobs during my 490, even when my 498 was pending. I have seen people changing jobs by giving the correct description of cases which they are having. The only thing I tell these people, don't resign from your previous job before you get a letter of acceptance from your new employer. I am sure with the passage of time, 498A case has lost its relevance, but there are newer offences which are coming, which are like 376, 511 attempt to rape, or sometimes a rape case is lodged on brother-in-law or co-brother. So these cases, definitely a person will have problem in getting even a private job because they are heinous crimes. So please be aware of this, and we can see that things work out for you sooner or later. You should not be in a hurry to leave your current jobs when you have a criminal case pending against you, because most of the time you already have a rapport with the existing employer or bosses. The same rapport may not be possible in your new employment. There would be instances when you will have to take leaves. So if you are changing jobs, then the benefit should be clear to you. Secondly, your employer, your bosses, your colleagues should be aware that you already have a case pending and you will be taking sufficient leaves, and they should not be denied to you when as and when it is required by you. I am taking a question from Salman. Salman has a question. I have a pending case of 323, 490 and 34 at Gwalior from the last 2 years. Can the police or my wife add any other section now? So, Salman, once there is a charge sheet has been done about these particular cases, and these cases are already running in Gwalior Court, no further sections can be added at this point of time. So, please be assured of it. There is nothing, no harm which they can do further than they have already done to you by now by filing these cases against you. Vinod Ahuja has a suggestion to do a session on LOC. Vinod, I don't think that there are many queries around LOC. I'll rather do a small video on LOC. And any queries if you have, you can always ask in the comment section. It affects a very small population, but definitely I'll try to do a video on LOC. I have a question from a person by the screen name Developer Board. Sir, if I am acquitted in 498A, will it be easy to get divorce? How long it will take? The questions like how long I cannot answer, how much I cannot answer. But if you are acquitted in 498A, it may be a tad easier to get divorce. However, please understand that unless the court mentions that this 498 is false, it does not create a specific ground for divorce. Only a false 498A is the ground of divorce. If you are acquitted on the benefit of doubt that the complainant has not been able to prove her case or the prosecution has failed in proving the case, then it is not a ground for divorce in itself. Of course, this can be of utilization for in addition to other grounds which you have put in divorce, but independently it is not a ground for divorce. How long it will take will depend upon where your case is, what are the facts of your case, and how long dates you are getting. There are courts in India which I know which have been vacant for say many months also. So there the cases are delayed, but there are and in daily life scenario where the courts are overburdened, the cases are invariably delayed than your imagination. अगला सवाल मैं ले रहा हूँ कुशलिंदर शर्मा जी का। कुशलिंदर शर्मा जी का सवाल है, डीवी केस दिल्ली में 1 साल से पेंडिंग है, एविडेंस स्टेज पर है, कोई मेडिकल नहीं, छोटे मोटे आरोप हैं, लेकिन अब महिला ने दहेज की शिकायत कर दी है, काउंसलिंग चल रही है, क्या 498 की एफआईआर दर्ज हो जाएगी? मुझे क्या करना चाहिए? कुशलिंदर जी, अगर 498 में एलिगेशन 498 के इंग्रेडिएंट्स पूरे हैं तो डेफिनेटली इसमें एफआईआर हो जाएगी दर्ज। अगर डीवी और 498 की कहानी के अंदर डिफरेंस है तो यह डिफरेंस आप उठाएंगे जब एविडेंस की स्टेज आएगी, लड़की को कन्फ्रंट किया जाएगा उसके प्रीवियस स्टेटमेंट से। आप इसमें शायद क्वेश्चन के लिए भी जा सकते हैं, पर जब तक कंप्लेंट पढ़ ना ली जाए इसके बारे में कोई भी पूर्णतया जानकारी नहीं दी जा सकती। आप शायद दिल्ली से ही हैं, तो जब लॉकडाउन के बाद वीकली मीटिंग्स में आप आइए, अपने कागज़ लेके आइए, कागज़ पढ़कर आपको जो भी बेस्ट गाइडेंस पॉसिबल है वो जरूर दी जाएगी। Hardyal Nota has a question, and the question is, I have given an amount, say rupees 5 lakhs to my wife or her parents by check. Can she still file 498A? My parents never stayed with us. Can she still file 498 against them? So, Hardayal, unfortunately, even if you have given amount to your wife, she can still file a case of 498A against you. That does not bar her from filing any case. If it was the case, then anybody would have given a small amount to the girl or her parents and then demanded a larger amount back by this stretch of imagination. Secondly, as your parents have never stayed with you in the past, still they can be charged with 498A. Very unfortunate, but very true. Even people who are not staying in the same household but have visited have been charged under 498A. This is a sad truth of this draconian law. We have to accept it and take appropriate action at appropriate time so that none of you are arrested and you get honorable acquittal from the court of law if you are charged with any such case. Rohit Goswami has a question about DV. I am not taking it, Rohit. You can please ask in weekly meeting or in the relevant comment section, and I'll try to answer it there. AG has a question, and the question is: Hi, sir. Wanted to know how 498A cases are taken by judges when marriage duration is very short of 2-3 months. So, AG, there is nothing which the duration of the marriage has any effect on 498A cases, how it is perceived by the court. However, one can safely assume that the longer the marriage, the lesser the chance of the cruelties being affected, being inflicted upon the complainant time and again. For shorter marriages, definitely, if it is with MLC or with any other thing, then it will impact the psyche of a judge because, after all, they are also human beings. However, most of the judges are trained to be immune from emotions while taking any decisions. But as a human being, not everybody comes out of it. How it affects any particular judge, I cannot say. But I have full faith in judiciary, and I can safely assume that most of the judges in India are fair and they'll decide the cases fairly. There are bad apples everywhere, there, and these elements exist in all profession, advocacy as well as judiciary. Let's not focus on them. Let's focus on a broader uh, picture and say that whatever our experience with judges, policemen, and advocates are, definitely there are bad apples. I'm not saying there are none. I have full trust that when I go to a judge and present my case, it will be listened and I'll get a fair judgment. That is all I can say about this. I have a question from Deep Chand, and the question is: My wife secretly took away all her Stridham. In 498 or 406, she is claiming all her belongings are with me. How the court will decide on a false allegation wife left after 9 years? Of course, it will be decided on evidence. She'll try to present her evidences that how these things are left. Trust me, in last 12 years, I have rarely seen convictions. And even when I have seen convictions, I have not seen convictions in 406 many. Or very, very rare that I have seen any convictions because most of the time, when the material was handed over, to whom the material was handed over, and what was the value of that case, after 11 years or after 9 years, she may not have the bills also. So it is very difficult for her to prove the case, and it is only for her to prove the case. Please don't sweat on it. Try to concentrate on the case, on the aspects where the cruelties were inflicted on her, and if you are able to do so, I'm sure that you will be acquitted very soon from that. Quote. I am taking a question from Pritika Sharma. Pritika has a question: what if wife and husband were living with wife's parents since marriage and nothing was given in marriage? So, what is the question, Pritika? Maybe the question is that how is it possible that the case can be filed even after that? So, unfortunately, the case definitely can be filed even after that, even when the husband and wife were living with the wife's parents since marriage and nothing was given in the marriage, because as I have repeatedly said that these are false cases. So there is no limit how much falsehood can be there in a story. If a girl can say two false statements, she can also say five false statements to, you know, bring around newer and newer people for newer and newer allegations. All the allegations which are in matrimonial offences, which we see of 354, 376, 377, they are made after a long gap. But how was a woman residing with a person who had molested her, who had attempted rape on her 1 year back, and she was staying in that home when everybody was trying to do that almost every other day? Why she has filed a complaint after 5 years, 3 years? So these are few questions which tell us that whether a case is false or true. So definitely, in your factual metrics or the case factual metrics, whichever is for whom you are asking this question, we can always bring out the facts in the court, and the court will decide on those facts. I am taking a question from a person by the screen name Pradeep Sachdeva. सर 1 साल हो गया 498 FIR हुए, पुलिस चार्जशीट नहीं कर रही है, क्या चार्जशीट जल्दी करवानी चाहिए या नहीं? चार्जशीट जल्दी करवाने के लिए क्या कर सकते हैं दिल्ली में केस? प्रदीप जी, दिल्ली के अंदर हाई कोर्ट की डायरेक्शंस हैं कि चार्जशीट 3 साल के अंदर आनी चाहिए, 3 साल तक आ जानी चाहिए। ऐसा नहीं है कि उन्होंने ये कहा कि 6 महीने में नहीं आनी चाहिए, 2 महीने में नहीं आनी चाहिए। पर अनफॉर्चुनेटली ऐसा कोई नियम नहीं है कि 60 दिन के अंदर या 90 दिन के अंदर ही चार्जशीट आ जाए। जब तक कि आप गिरफ्तार ना हुए हो, वेट करें। पुलिस जब भी चार्जशीट फाइल करेगी तब हम उसके बारे में देखेंगे। और आज की तारीख में वैसे भी स्थितियां ऐसी बनी हुई हैं पुलिस के लिए भी कि एक्सपेक्ट करना कि पुलिस जल्दी चार्जशीट फाइल कर देगी और कोर्ट उस पर जल्दी संज्ञान ले लेगा, वो जरूरी नहीं है। कुछ डिलेज इस हालात में होंगे, तो अभी आप वेट कीजिए। लॉकडाउन की स्थिति खत्म होती है, कोविड की स्थिति सुधरती है, तब एक बार सोच सकते हैं कि क्या हम स्टेप्स ले सकते हैं जिससे कि चार्जशीट जल्दी से जल्दी आ जाए। Tinku Kumar has a question about DIR. Again, this question does not relate to criminal cases, so please, Tinku, please come on Saturday and I'll try to answer these questions. Okay, AG has a question. A person by the screen name AG has a question. When she was with me, she sent a message to me on WhatsApp that she cannot survive like this due to some differences related to her disinterest in household work. Can she use it as evidence for dowry torture? So, AG, when I have said something about I cannot survive in